Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Heart Gold with only Drowsy was a fun solo run. Let's follow that up with a really weird team run. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Platinum with a team of only future fairy types. This is a weird one, isn't it? I put this idea on the Patreon poll after a few people suggested it, and it won in a landslide, and I can see why. It's a pretty fun idea. There's a whole bunch of Pokemon from the first few generations that become fairy type after it was introduced in Gen 6, so we're only using them today. Obviously, fairy type doesn't exist yet, so none of them actually are fairy type in this game, so will the team be any good? Who knows? Let's find out. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment out below and guess if I can win or not. Yeah, I figure victory is inevitable. This is mostly about using a weird team and seeing what happens. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Pokemon that become fairy type. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. Also, if I sound a little bit rough, I'm sick, and my throat is very scratchy right now, and I'm staring at an 8.5-page script. I'm probably going to sound pretty rough by the end of this. So right off the bat, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Turtwig with Jigglypuff so that we can do the whole run with it. I went with Jigglypuff because I'm pretty sure it's the only fairy type that you can normally only get in the post-game, and I replaced Turtwig for a rival to have a fighting type that would be super effective against it. We're Impish for more defense and less special attack. I think that'll be fine. Now, you'll notice that we have literally no attacking moves. That would be a big issue, but thankfully, there's no fights that are required to win between here and getting Return from the Pokemon Lab, so I guess we just have to slap Return on our Jigglypuff. I would have loved to saved it for something more useful later, but it is what it is. Alright, so this whole first part of the run is probably going to be horrible, I'm telling you now. First of all, we only start with Return and no Friendship, so we're going to be doing almost no damage at all. And although Jigglypuff learns an amazing amount of move variety in this game, it's all by TMs that we don't have access to yet. I think that our only way through the Rock Gym will be hitting level 17 and using Rollout, although we might need to be a higher level than 17 before we can actually win. We don't get our next Pokemon until shortly after the Grass Gym at the earliest, and even then, it's just an egg, so it might not hatch until after we catch more Pokemon. Then I'll need to level it up, too. Until then, we have only one Pokemon with terrible speed, terrible defense, and special defense, mediocre attacking stats, and a whole lot of health. Hey, at least we have Defense Curl to power up the Rollout. It's a small silver lining. Now I need to go run back and forth from the early routes to the Poke Center for ages to get our initial first few level ups before I can actually fight our rival. Let's hope for the best. Before we get there though, now's a great time to tell you about this video's sponsor, Factor Meals. Factor Meals is a service where you can get awesome meals delivered right to your door. These are fresh, never frozen, chef-prepared meals that were made fresh that week. You can pick from several meal plans to cater to your personal tastes and needs. Chef's Choice, Vegan, Keto, Protein Plus, and Calorie Smart. I always go with Protein Plus personally. It's really filling and it makes it easy to hit my protein goals. Plus, they recently doubled their menu size and added all kinds of new seafood and protein options. What you get in the box is 6 to 18 chef-prepared packaged meals that have never been frozen. How many you get is up to you when you sign up. Preparing your meal is about as fast as it can be. Each package has both microwave and oven instructions on them, with it taking about 2 to 3 minutes in the microwave and 10 to 15 in the oven. It literally could not be more convenient. No prep time, no cleanup, just great food. Just the other day, I heated up a couple of meals for my girlfriend and I. I had the bavette steak and loaded bacon mashed potatoes with garlic green beans and grape tomatoes, and she had the honey mustard chicken with roasted rosemary potatoes and garlic green beans. I'm not normally a big steak guy, but I guess they seasoned this with magic because it was delicious, and obviously you can't go wrong with bacon mashed potatoes. I've also had that honey mustard chicken before, so you've probably heard me talk about how tender it is. Also, the rosemary potatoes are the best smelling potatoes I've ever had in my life, so the meal was all around a winner. Both meals were over 40 grams of protein, so it fit into our macro goals perfectly. Head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use the code MDBFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code MDBFB50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Thanks to Factor Meals for sponsoring this video. Go show them some love at the link at the top of the video description. Now I've got a run to go do. After quite a bit of grinding to get to the point where Return would actually do more damage than Pound, we beat our rival just because he spammed Leer nearly the whole fight. If he had fought back, then I'm sure we could have lost, but he didn't, so I'm not going to complain. Now I need to get to level 17 before the Rock Gym for sure. So I was actually at level 18 when I got to the Rock Gym, and this one was insanely close. First, we built up our defense curl and used Rollout on Geodude. We took a few hits, but it wasn't so bad and it went down fast. Onix was second, and we ended up hitting it with the last hit of our first rollout for a one-shot, but not until after it hit a weak rock throw. Because of that though, we had to start a fresh rollout for Craniados, and although we were doing pretty good damage, so was he with his headbutts. Q-Charm infatuated him, but he never lost a turn, so we ended up just hardly taking him down when we had only 5 health left. If rollout had missed, or a slightly different damage range had happened, we would have lost that fight for sure, yet we ended up winning on the first try. Wow, the next fight really surprised me. This Commander Mars fight is usually pretty easy as long as you don't get hit by Toxic, but the Purugly straight up wrecks us. It hits harder than us, is faster than us, and is tankier than us. I actually have to grind for this fight. Can't remember the last time I had to do that. So I grind up to level 26 and we're taking a bit less damage now. It's still a bit close, and we probably could have lost if they crit us, but we ended up winning the strike exchange and just hardly got by. Only one gym and commander fight left until we get our new Pokemon. Next is the Grass Gym, and thanks to Turtwig using Reflect early, I decided that I would Defense Curl and use Rollout to buy time for Reflect to wear off. And it ended up working perfectly, because we made really short work of our team and ended up against Roserade during the last hit of Rollout, giving us a really easy one-shot on her team's most threatening Pokemon. It was a really clean fight. Next is Jupiter, and this was another crazy fight like the Mars one. Zubat was just a one-shot, but Skuntank is super dangerous. Right away, we lost accuracy to Smokescreen and missed Return as a result, then lost defense to Screech. Our Return didn't do a ton of damage, and then we got poisoned by Poison Gas. Skuntank is faster and does amazing damage with a Night Slash, so it looked like we were gonna lose, but our Quick Claw kicked in on the last turn to let us land the winning blow. This is another first try, and now it's finally time to get some new Pokemon. First, on our way out of town, we're given the egg for Togepi. This probably won't hatch until we're past the Ghost Gym unless we have to grind though, which we might have to, so we'll check the stats on this later when that happens. I have other Pokemon to catch on the way. Well, I wanted to catch both Clefairy and Ralts, but Clefairy didn't show up in the caves for a few hours, so I just caught 4 Ralts, and this is the best one. Yeah, the nature is just special defense up and defense down, but that's not so bad, and the special attack is by far the highest of any Ralts that I caught, so I figured that its IVs might not be too bad. I'm gonna slap an experience share on it right away and try and level it up a bit so that it can help with Haunter at the Ghost Gym, but I still expect the gym to be a mess. By the way, you'll notice that there's a chat on screen for some of this. That's because I finally got around to doing what I kept saying I would do in the outros of these challenges, and I've started streaming some of the play sessions of these challenges here on this very YouTube channel. You can find the recordings on the live tab of the channel, but I'll warn you now, it's a total mess. Oh yeah, and on our way to grind more, Togepi hatched and it's got a terrible nature, impish, more defense, less special attack. We had a poll on the stream on if Togepi's nature would suck, and 77% of people watching said it would. Well, they were right. At least we got Serene Grace, that ability's fantastic, but man, I'm really not happy about having less special attack. Well, that's an emulator glitch. Oh man, I just don't know what shape to pick. It's so hard. Maybe it's triangle. Oh. Maybe it's triangle. Oh. Maybe it's triangle. Ah. Maybe it's triangle. Ah. Maybe it's triangle. Move. Move! Oh my god. Ah, come on. Ah. Maybe it's triangle. Hey, first try! Alright, first try at the Ghost Gym, and the Duskull takes quite a while because we keep getting burned. Amazingly enough though, when we woke up from our rest, we missed Rollout twice in a row and got burned again, so I had to rest again and then finally wake up to Rollout to get the knockout before they could burn me again. The problem is second is Miss Magius, and we had some pretty bad confusion luck. The first time it was from Confuse Ray, but we were about to get knocked out when we got confused off a Psybeam, and then hit ourselves to totally ruin the fight. The rest of our team just instantly fainted. That was just unlucky. Thankfully, 2 tries later and Will-O-Wisp just misses, and we get a rollout really early that just sweeps the whole team with no issue. Not bad, all things considered. Next is our rival, and right away we fail a few times in a row thanks to Staravia using Double Team and Endeavor to absolutely wreck us. But on this one, Quick Claw kicked in to let us bypass Endeavor and win the fight really easily just by spamming Return. No problem. Alright, now before the fighting gym, I went ahead and caught a bunch of Meryl. Of the 6, I caught only 2 that had huge power, and this naughty one seems like the better of the 2. It's got less defense and special defense than the other one, but is better both on attack and special attack. Plus, huge power doubles the attack stat in battle, so it should help a ton in the long run. I'm looking forward to using this one. Now, I might need to evolve Gardevoir before I get to the fighting gym if we want to win this one. Alright, fighting gym time, and it really wasn't that bad. We swept our way to Lucario, who is faster than us and hit pretty hard, but we still just overpowered it with a few hits of Psychic no problem. I don't think that the water gym fight will go that well, but maybe the rival won't be too bad. After that is the rival, but Gardevoir is just such an amazing Pokemon. Despite being about the same level as them, I just used Calm Mind twice and then swept his team with Psychic. We got burned partway through and took a lot of damage, but I'm sure we could have finished the fight with Jigglypuff if we really had to. I think this water gym might be pretty hard though. Now the water gym right after was actually fantastic. On the first try, we just lost really badly to Water Onix being a monster, so on the second try I had our newly evolved Togetic come in first. I said that like 6 times, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. We hardly survived a hit, used Yawn, and got knocked out, then had Jigglypuff Defense Curl and hit a rollout that built up and swept his whole team. To be honest, I probably only needed Water Onix to faint from it since I knew that Gardevoir could handle the rest of the team, but it still went great. Okay, only one major fight between us and another Pokemon. Let's go. Next is the first Cyrus fight. It starts off alright with Jigglypuff losing tons of defense to multiple Screeches, but thanks to Quick Claw, our rollout ended up taking out Sneasel before we could get hit. Golbat was a one-shot thanks to Supersonic not causing us to hit ourselves, but Murkrow at the end was a problem. We had just about no defense left, so we couldn't last long, and the entire rest of our team got totally destroyed. Only Jigglypuff and Gardevoir are decent levels, so I think it's time I help Meryl and Togetic catch up. Togetic, I don't know, man. That is absolutely one of those Pokemon where no matter what I say, people will say that I'm wrong. And before you say it, don't tell me to go look up what the anime says, because you know for a fact it's wrong half the time, too. So I grinded for what really wasn't all that long in the cave where you pick up the Dig TM for a bunch of levels on Azumarill and a little bit on Togetic. Using Rollout with Azumarill took out most of his team just fine, but a miss on Murkrow at the end ruined our strategy. Instead, I ended up having Togetic use 3 charms to ruin his attack, Sweet Kiss to confuse him, then I started using Metronome. Unfortunately, it didn't do anything particularly strong, so we ended up fainting and having Jigglypuff easily finish the fight. Still, Charm really saved us there. Now I'm gonna go grab that free Moonstone from Eterna City, then catch a new Pokemon. Alright, after catching 7 Mr. Mimes, I think this is the one I'm gonna stick with. It's a little slower and has a little less defense than some of them, but its special attack is high, and its special defense is really high, and it's got Filter for an ability, so super effective moves do 25% more damage rather than 50% more. It's gonna be an amazing tank against special moves, and I could see it really helping us stall out some hard-hitting Pokemon. Let's go fight our rival and then the Steel Gym. Alright, next is another rival fight, and I had to try this a few times to figure it out. First, I used Gardevoir to use Calm Mind and Psychic to take out Staraptor without getting hurt, but second is Heracross, and this thing party-wiped me so many times. This time I had Togetic spam Charm on it to ruin its attack, then sent in Gardevoir once we fainted to finish it off. We still took a good chunk of damage, but this is progress. Floatzel is next, so I stay in to use Magical Leaf, then we nearly ended up fainting because of Pursuit. We only had 4 health left when he fainted, 7 after the Shell Bell healed us. Out to Mr. Mime for Infernape, but we really didn't last long. We got 2 hits in to bring him to red health though, and that's a lot more than I was expecting. Azumarill is thankfully tanky enough to not get hurt much, and easily finish it off. Last is Roserade, but Jigglypuff took it out no problem. Now I'm going to go use that Moonstone on Jigglypuff to make it a little stronger. I'll grab the Shiny Stone from Iron Island to evolve Togetic. Then we can go give the Steel Gym a try. I can literally feel how much worse my voice has gotten. I can hear my voice. I can feel my voice. It is awful compared to the start of the recording. I'm drinking some tea, don't worry. It helps a little bit. Next is the Steel Gem, and this is another hard one. I had to try this fight tons just to get past Magneton. What's wrong with me? I had to try this fight tons just to get past Magneton because he can wreck most of our team with Metal Sound and Thunderbolt. But on this try, our Wigglytuff was actually doing pretty well. We fainted and had to finish it with Gardevoir, but it still went well, all things considered. Second is Bastiodon, and I was really hoping that Azumarill could just brute force it with Surf, but we brought it to a sliver, then it full restored. I kept using Surf, and it looked like we were gonna faint when Stone Edge missed, so we got the knockout. That meant that we got to hit Surf on Steelix for big damage before we fainted to Flash Cannon. I decided to play it safe and have Togekiss put it to sleep and wreck its attack with Yawn and Charm before slowly chipping it down with Ancient Power. We had other Pokemon that I'm sure could have finished it off, but you never know what crazy stuff's gonna happen, so I figured Yawn and Charm was just a safer idea. We're heading north soon, and I gotta say, the team's doing pretty well so far. I have to try most major fights a few times to figure out what tactic I have to use to win, but I do often win with minimal grinding. I just wish I had a full team. I still don't have a Clefairy because it only comes out in the early morning and late at night, and I just haven't been recording during those times recently. I'll catch a Clefairy tonight for sure though, but I know that I'll need to have an HM Pokemon for Mount Coronet soon, so I think that Clefairy will be the Pokemon I leave off my team for that whole section. First though, I have an Ice Gym and a Cyrus fight, and I'm not sure how they're gonna go. Maybe the Ice Gym won't be too bad since we have 2 Pokemon with Rollout, I'm not sure, but both of the last Cyrus fights I think are gonna be pretty hard. Finally, it's nighttime, so I went ahead and caught a handful of Clefairies. This one was the lowest special defense of the group, but it's got the highest special attack by a lot, so I figure that it's worth using. Again, it's such a low level that I don't think I'm bringing it up the mountain to the last Cyrus fight since I need an HM Pokemon to get up there, but I could see it being good before the end of the game. You never know. Now this Ice Gym was a hard one. Right away, Azumarill is great at taking out Sneasel fast with Rollout, but on some tries we take a lot of damage like this one. I have to switch though, because second is Abomasnow, and that means that it's snowing for the rest of the fight. I decided to send in Gardevoir just to overpower it with Psychic. We made it faint, but we took a ton of damage. Frostlass is next, so I sent in Wigglytuff to try Defense Curl and Rollout, but the hail makes it so Blizzard always hits, so we landed with 1 health on the second turn, and thus only hit Rollout once. It did solid damage, we fainted, then I sent in Togekiss. We just hardly survived a Blizzard, then crit an Ancient Power for the knockout. I really doubt I needed that crit, but I'm happy that Snowcloak didn't save her. Last is Piloswine, so I hit 1 more Ancient Power, fainted, then finished it off with Magical Leaf from Gardevoir. That wasn't easy, but we won. Alright, this is a rough one. It's the next Cyrus fight. So after 5 tries in a row where we just got the worst possible luck with getting crit over and over, we had this one where not only did Rollout do well, but the Quick Claw let us take out Crobat before it could do anything to us. And it didn't matter because the Haunch Crow at the end can take out our entire team like it's nothing. Look, I know our levels are really falling behind, but I really thought that we'd at least win this fight once we got to Haunch Crow with a full team. I'm gonna grind a little bit more, then use rare candies to get the new minimum level of the team up to maybe 40. It's still quite a bit lower than theirs, but we need to help the lower leveled members of the team catch up if we're ever gonna stand a chance here. So I leveled up the whole team a bit, and although it's still a disaster, we ended up beating Haunch Crow literally just because Ancient Power's Omni Boost kicked in, and dropped him to a perfect amount of health that we could bypass the full restore, and just make him faint. Well alright, I'll take it, a win's a win. Naturally, the double battle on the top of the mountain is pretty easy when you have a full team. But like usual, it took forever. At least in the solo runs, you can just one-shot a lot of their team, but instead, we just slowly chipped our way through. Now, I think there's about a 100% chance that we get totally destroyed at the Cyrus fight in a moment, but we should at least try before resorting to leveling up more. Okay, I went and had a lozenge, and it's been 30 minutes. Let's hope I sound better now. Well, at the first try at the last Cyrus fight, we literally only got past Houndoom because of a lucky crit. Yes, despite having a water type, we got completely annihilated. Like, it wasn't even remotely close. We got past Houndoom thanks to a crit, then the Weavile destroyed us. I'm gonna have to get the entire team up to level 50 at this point, because we are borderline useless against Cyrus's team. Alright, here we are at level 50. We have Aquatail on Azumarill now, and as long as Houndoom doesn't use Will-O-Wisp at the start, we get a solid one-shot on it thanks to huge power. Second is Water Onyx, so of course I have Togekiss move in with Shockwave doing fantastic damage. We get hurt a bit with Ice Fang before we take it out. Next is Weavile though, and I know this one is tough. I sent in Wigglytuff knowing I might have to just overpower it. We flinched a Fake Out on the first turn, but the Ice Punch on the second doesn't quite do as much damage as I was expecting. It was looking like 2 returns would take it out, but it ended up being left with a sliver and eating a berry. We got taken out with X-Scissor, but Azumarill was able to finish it off with Strength after taking a hit. Next is Honchkrow, so I knew this might still be a loss, so I sent in Mr. Mime to use Reflect. I also used Light Screen just to buy time until we fainted, so that we could get the free switch to Togekiss. Ancient Power did awesome damage and we hardly got hurt with Drill Peck, so we took it out in 2 hits. Last is Crobat, so I yawned right away, spammed some charms as toxic damage was taking us out, and got 1 Ancient Power in before we fainted, then sent in Gardevoir to easily finish it. Crobat never ended up waking up, so we finally got our win. Last for the gyms is the Electric Gym. Jolteon starts the fight, so I thought I'd use Wigglytuff with Rollout. We ended up getting paralyzed really fast, but thanks to Charge Beam missing, we survived long enough to actually win the exchange. We got fully paralyzed against Raichu though and fainted to a Focus Blast right after, so I sent in Gardevoir to overpower it. It turns out Raichu has Signal Beam though, so we got hit and confused, but we didn't get hurt much, and we didn't hit ourselves, so we got a 2-shot. Out to Mr. Mime as Luxray came out, and right away we set up a light screen, although it didn't help us much right away because of Crunch. I set up Reflect right after, we hardly held on, and I hit Psychic for solid damage. We fainted, but I felt safe sending Azumarill in to finish it off thanks to the Reflect. Not that it mattered much, since he missed Thunderfang. We dropped into a Sliver though, so he healed back up with a full restore. The next Thunderfang hit, but the Reflect was still up, so we didn't take too much damage, then we finished him off with an Aqua Tail. As Reflect wore off, Electivire came out. I went for another Aqua Tail, but he was faster with Thunder Punch and took us out. Out to Togekiss, and although we fainted fast, we got a Yawn in first, so he fell asleep as he finished us off. I sent in Gardevoir to use Psychic while he was asleep, and thanks to him staying asleep for 2 turns, we landed a 2-shot and got the win. Last before the Elite Four is our rival, so I hunted down some TMs to rework our moveset, then gave the fight a try. Right away, we take out Staraptor pretty easily with a few Ancient Powers from Togekiss, but lost a lot of health in the process. Floatzel's next, and I have Gardevoir one-shot it with Thunderbolt, but its Crunch takes out 2/3 of our health. Not sure if I should have used something else or not. Heracross is third, so I had Mr. Mime set up Reflect and take it out with a few hits of Psychic. We took a ton of damage, but it worked. Roserade was just a one-shot, and next is Snorlax, so I sent in Azumarill thinking that I could use Waterfall and maybe flinch him. We ended up getting paralyzed off the first Body Slam, though. We still won just by trading hits back and forth, but we had just 7 health by the end. Now, despite not having a single member of our team faint yet, he sent out his Infernape and literally just swept our entire team. He was faster than us, we don't have any great answers to him, and the few hits that we got in did almost nothing. He's got Shadow Claw to take out our Psychic types, and our only Water type was paralyzed and had 7 health. I'm gonna try a few more times. Maybe if Azumarill is healthy by the time that Infernape comes in, then we could win. So I try the fight again, and it goes about the same until Snorlax, but this time I sent Clefable in. I just used Minimize once, then Meteor Mash a few times to raise our attack. We got unlucky and got paralyzed early off a Body Slam, but the Drain Punches did great damage and kept us healthy. It took a while, but we knocked him out. Last is Infernape, and this time I sent in Azumarill. We nearly got one shot on the first round, but our Waterfall took him out in 1 hit. I'm happy that I didn't have to level for that. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. I have to say, we actually have really wide type coverage. Our stats aren't half bad either, although our team is weirdly lopsided. We've got super effective moves against basically everything but electric types, and we obviously have issues with very fast physical attackers. That said, Mr. Mime and Togekiss are both pretty tanky and can still do something to weaken them. I'm sure I can win this, but I think that our team is going to have to level up quite a bit before we can actually make it to Cynthia. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Bug Trainer Aaron. So you know how I was saying that we have a hard time with physical attackers? Well, we got through the first 2 Pokemon pretty easily, then got borderline swept by Heracross. Even after putting up a Reflect, he was one-shotting us through it. In the end, we only knocked him out because of a lucky Quick Claw activating to save us, but we only had about 30 health and 1 Pokemon left after that, so it didn't matter. Yeah, I need to seriously level up if I'm gonna win this one. So I come back with the team at level 55. Right away we crit Yanmega with Ancient Power for a one-shot, and second is Drapion, so I have Wigglytuff spam return. We ended up getting poisoned fast, but we also got Drapion with Cute Charm. I wasn't sure who would win in the end, but we both ended up fainting at the same time. I was forced to pick my Pokemon first, so I picked Togekiss since it's really tanky, and he picked Heracross. Right away we yawned, then started ruining his attack in his sleep, letting us safely switch to Gardevoir to finish him off with Psychic in one hit. Next is Scizor, so I had Azumarill tag in to use Waterfall. We took a lot of damage, but we did a lot more, so we won in 2 hits. The last is Vespiquen, so I sent in Togekiss right away to use the double effect of Ancient Power. She got us with Power Gem, but somehow we hung on with only 5 health, so we got to keep attacking. We were faster, so we got the 2-shot and won. Second is Ground Trainer Bertha. Right away, Whiscash is a one-shot with Magical Leaf, obviously, and second is Hippowdon, so I have Azumarill use Waterfall. It's not quite a one-shot, but we actually didn't take much damage from Stone Edge, so we take it out in 2 hits. That Sandstorm's gonna last the rest of the fight though, so I'm expecting that I'll get chipped down a bit. Gliscor is next, so I stay in. It's faster, so we only got 1 hit with Waterfall, but the damage was great. We fainted, so I had to send in Mr. Mime, who lost most of his health before getting the knockout. Rhyperior's next, so I stayed in and put up a Reflect so that we could feint and switch to Gardevoir. Magical Leaf did amazing damage, she held on and hit a Mega Horn, and thanks to the Reflect we hardly survived to get the knockout. Last is Golem, and we left her with a sliver off Magical Leaf. We hardly survived the Fire Punch and Sandstorm damage as she used a full restore. I thought we would faint to the Sandstorm, but the Shell Bell healed us just enough that we survived, so we got the win. Not a bad first try. Third is Fire Trainer Flint. Right away I have Togekiss take out Houndoom by spamming Ancient Power. I figured that Togekiss is the right choice since we need something tanky to survive, and we might get an Omni Boost in the process. Well, we actually ended up getting 2 of them. I love Serene Grace, that ability is amazing. I stayed in thanks to the boosts to fight Infernape. We yawned to make him drowsy, then got some charms in to survive, and Shockwave ended up critting to one-shot him. I love how this is starting. As Magmortar came out, we hit Yawn, but we also fainted to Thunderbolt. I knew we couldn't last forever with Togekiss, it's okay. Out to Wigglytuff, and I used Defense Curl and then Rollout once he falls asleep. We lost half our health and got burned, but we got the knockout. Flareon is next, but it missed Overheat, and our Rollout almost one-shotted. He used a full restore, and our next Rollout hit for a one-shot. Last is Rapidash, and we have nearly no health left, but the Quick Claw let us go first, and we landed a one-shot. I'm sure that we could have just won fine with the rest of our team, but that rollout worked great considering we got burned. Fourth is Psychic Trainer Lucian. So I tried this fight 8 different times to see what I could send in that wouldn't result in us getting easily party wiped by Gallade, and I wasn't finding any solutions until I realized that the Mr. Mime at the start can hardly hurt Gardevoir, and despite it realizing that and switching out if I sent in Wigglytuff, it wouldn't switch out if I sent in Gardevoir for some reason. So I just built up 6 Calm Minds and then swept his entire team. We had some close calls, but the Shell Bell kept us just healthy enough to get the win on the 9th try. Finally, Pokemon Champion Cynthia. I love this first try. I instantly have the amazing luck of double flinching Spiritomb with Waterfall, so we didn't get hit once, and we took a Roserade in one hit with Psychic. Then our entire team got easily swept by Lucario even after I yawned and used 3 charms. Didn't matter, he had Aura Sphere, so he could still do great damage even with the attack drops. It's kind of crazy that fighting types are so consistently an issue in the second half of this run, when we have 2 great psychic types on the team. I know I'm under-leveled, but I thought that I was just gonna get brickwalled by Garchomp, not Lucario. I mean, at this rate, Garchomp would probably sweep us with Earthquake. Alright, so I got up to level 60 and kept trying. Spiritomb is crazy close to being a 2-shot with Waterfall now, but it isn't quite, so I ended up taking a ton of damage and actually fainting. But we could at least outspeed and finish it off with Gardevoir. Second is Lucario, and I still yawn at it, but this time we faint fast, and I have Gardevoir take it out while it's asleep. Next is Garchomp though, and it's faster and hits incredibly hard. It ended up sweeping a ton of our team before we whittled it down enough that Clefable was able to take it and finish it off with Ice Beam. But it left us so decimated that her Togekiss pretty easily finished us off with stuff like Aura Sphere. Okay, I'm gonna get 5 more levels on the team, but I'm pretty confident that I can win as long as Clefable either one-shots Garchomp, or if we can just safely get its health down a little bit before we use Ice Beam. Okay, level 65, and it really looked like Spiritomb was going to be a 2-shot, but it wasn't, so it healed back up. It ended up being a 2-shot right after, though, so we only got hit once. Roserade is still a 1-shot, and after that is Lucario, but this time I used Azumarill. We took huge damage, hit a waterfall to do a lot of damage in return, then we fainted. Gardevoir was able to finish it off, and thanks to him going for Stone Edge and missing, we didn't even take damage in the process. This time I sent Clefable in against Garchomp right away, and I was heartbroken when Ice Beam dropped Garchomp from full health to only a sliver. That's when something amazing happened. Instead of using Earthquake to finish us off, she used Dragon Rush and missed, so we got the knockout. Next is the Togekiss mirror match, so I yawned right away and spammed Ancient Power while he was using Shockwave. Pretty quickly we got an Omni Boost and got the knockout. Last is Melodic, so I yawned, then hit Shockwave, then switched to Gardevoir as we fainted, so that I could hit Thunderbolt for the win while Melodic was still asleep. We got the win! I have to say, I really like silly runs like this, ones where the restrictions is really just arbitrary so that we end up with a strange team. It's really fun seeing what random Pokemon end up being difficult to fight when you're forced to use such a strange team, kinda like in my No New Moves runs. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Black 2, with only one slacking. As always, I'm looking forward to your suggestions in the comments, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. I know you guys really like when I have the longer outros. You like catching up with me. I like doing them too. But oh my god, I've had to take so many breaks during this voiceover. It's been so brutal. And also, I just have this horrible clump of tense muscle in my right shoulder right now. My body is having such a rough time today. And it's 4 o'clock and I have barely even walked, so I really need to go for a walk. Just everything is rough right now, so I'm just gonna real quick shout out the $50 supporters over on Patreon and the YouTube members: Jacob Busby, Javid Kusro, Grayson Fitz, Tara Louise, Alexander Hedgeblog, Joel Mann, Dark Soul, Young Smoky VP, Cal Anderson, and Crystal Sunrise. Thank you so much for your continued support. I love that I'm getting comments now from people saying that they have the supporters memorized like they do the fossil gag now, and I get it, because there's a channel I watch called History Matters who has that same type of shout out thing at the end of every one of their videos, and even though it changes a little bit over the years, you really do memorize the long-standing names. It's so repetitive, it just worms its way into your brain, you know? Anyway, I should definitely get going, because that lozenge, it already feels like it's wearing off. I am wrecking my throat. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.